Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Maggie.
And we are
Hopefully Awesome.
That's right, a positive place on the internet where we nerd out about all the geeky things we love. And today's geeky thing is Beast Wars! Beast Wars! Yeah, that's right, everybody. This is going back to Beast Wars, our weekly podcast video where we recap all of Beast Wars week by week. Episode by episode, kind of. We do a couple episodes each week. We started off, of course, with Transformers. Yeah. The original, Gen 1. We watched the first 3 episodes of that. Mm-hmm. Last week, we watched the Transformers, the movie. From 1986, I believe. And now, finally, 3 weeks in, we get to actually start Beast Wars. I'm excited. I'll be honest, loved Beast Wars growing up. So the fact that we're actually getting here now to where we get to see, my big old monkey man, I'm excited. Very excited for it, okay? If this is your first time watching us, welcome. Welcome to Hopefully Awesome. We hope you have a positive, nerdy, fun experience while you're here. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed the show. So now, let's keep
taking out
going.
My earrings.
Oh, okay. I was like,
poking me.
I was like, what's happening? Maggie, while you're taking those out, I'm going to go ahead and start the car because we're going back to Beast Wars.
Beast Wars! I wasn't ready.
Well, hey, you better get fucking ready. All right? That's right, everybody. Beast Wars! Remember, I believe I mentioned this at the end of the last episode, but if this is your first time watching Beast Wars, we were able to find both HD and 4K versions. They were upconverted using AI technology. So, I mean, it's not necessarily the purest form, but I mean, I've watched Beast Wars before. I'm watching it this way, and I mean, it looks normal to me. Yeah. There's maybe a little bit of shadowing and stuff, but honestly, this looks a lot better than the 480p that it would look like if we watched the DVDs I have.
It's true.
But you can find that on YouTube under the YouTube channel Owl's Replay. That is who we've been watching it through. I believe they also have some episodes on Tubi, but honestly, I haven't looked into that. So, now that all that shit's out of the way, let's get down and dirty with some fucking Beast Wars. All right? Listen, Transformers, it's had its day. All right? The trucks and the fucking the gun and then the fighter jets and I'm Bumblebee, I'm a Volkswagen. Oh, that's great. All right, it's all fantastic, sure. But now it's time for the real Transformers to get in here. Okay. That's right. I'm picking a fight with the Gen 1 people.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. All right.
You
can keep your Starscream. All right. I'll take Rhinox any day.
Starscream.
Or what's his name? Terratron. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, let me tell you, this show so good. Season 1, we're beginning with the first episode. Season 1, episode 1, entitled Beast Wars Part 1. Episode 1 overall. Original air dates. So we got 2 dates here. Was April 22nd, 1996 in a preview event. But the actual regular airing first original air date was September 16th, 1996. Yeah, so there's a little fun thing for you. Written by Bob Forward and directed by Ian Pearson. We begin Beast Wars in an unknown star system. A transwarp portal opens, releasing 2 starships, a fleeing Predacon warship, and a pursuing Maximal vessel. Already carrying the scars of battle, both ships immediately open fire upon each other. On the Maximal ship, a youthful crew member reports on their damaged condition, in response to which another crew member bitterly complains about their non-combat exploration vessel not being cut out for this mission. Their commander, Optimus Primal, states that they were the only ship in range capable of intercepting the fugitives. On the fleeing Predacon starship, the first officer urges his leader, Megatron, to finish off the Maximals while their opponent's shields are down. Megatron arrogantly rebuffs this suggestion, preferring to toy with his opponents. A broadside attack cripples their enemies' engines and causes significant damage to their stasis hold. Optimus Primal orders the Maximals' cargo of stasis pods be released into safe orbit before firing forward plasma cannons strafing the Predacons' hull. With no engines, both ships are caught in the planet's gravitational pull and plummet to its surface. This is how you begin a series. All right? From the get-go, it's like, listen, we're going to get all beasts. I want all wars. All right? I want to see some lasers. I want to see some stuff breaking. You know? This in 30 seconds, this gave me more than, the last 30 years of Transformers. All right? I'm kidding. I'm playing it up, guys. I'm not actually.
Coming for you.
No, listen. Gen 1, more like Gen sucks. Am I right? Ooh.
I'm not high-fiving on that, man. Your head can be on the platter.
Listen. I love that Optimus Primal's name is already Optimus Primal, and yet he's not an ape yet.
No.
Actually, none of these Autobots, or, Maximals. Why are they even called Maximals? You know what? We're going to talk about this later, maybe. But, we should really think about how their names are already existing before any beast thing has happened. They're already called the Predacons.
Yeah.
Taken from predators, obviously.
Yeah.
And Maximals, taken from,
animals.
Yeah. So, I mean, why would they have that if they don't have any kind of connection to... I mean, I get that they're I get why after.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just unsure why they had it beforehand, I don't know. It opens up a whole can of worms.
Toys.
Damn it, you're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. Both ships are non-flight worthy after their crashes. The Maximals have landed on a cliff above a lake, but the Predacon warship has landed smack in the middle of the ash-hardened opening of an active shield volcano. The Predacon computer informs Megatron that their location is unknown, as while the course settings were accurate, the readings were not consistent with what was to be expected of the location. Dismissing this for the time being, Megatron demands to know if the mysterious planet has enough energon, which the computer confirms to his elation. However, it warns that there is so much energon that prolonged exposure would permanently damage their robot modes, declaring that they will take the forms of the most powerful creatures on the planet. Megatron orders his science officers to scan for local life forms, which they could adapt as alternate modes to survive this world. The Predacon ship launches a drone, scanning the fossils of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a Velociraptor, and a Pterodon, as well as a living spider, scorpion, and wasp. At the cliff, the Maximals have the same idea, scanning a gorilla, a rat, a rhino, and a cheetah. The Maximals check out their new forms and bicker amongst themselves, till Optimus Primal orders the crew to moderate their conflict circuits, reminding them that their new beast forms are to protect them from the long-term effects of the abundant energon fields. While they need energon for power, their robot modes will short out after a few minutes of exposure. Optimus notes that they are on a very unusual planet, wherever it is. Rhinox points out that transwarp drive allows them to journey through space and time, so they could be in any place, anytime. Optimus expresses concern about the stasis pods in orbit, as it means the Maximals are outnumbered. Yeah, so they can travel through time, they knew that? The transwarp drive allows them to journey through space and time. I always thought, I don't know, maybe in my brain I'm getting it mixed up with Voyager or space cases, but I thought the portal opened up and took them without them realizing.
Yeah.
And that's what threw them through stuff. I didn't realize they could time travel. That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I mean, what's to stop them from just going back and pulling a Terminator, and killing the original Optimus Prime?
And killing Spike.
Yeah, and killing fucking Spike Witwicky,
Yeah.
And here's another thing. They all come out of this and he's like, oh man, look at me, I'm a cheetah. No, I'm Cheetor. Why'd they have to get new names?
I don't know.
They existed.
Yeah.
Before.
I don't know, man.
I'm just saying. Megatron gets to stay Megatron.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime Mole is already Primal, or maybe he takes on that moniker.
I don't know, man.
And we know that Prime is a rank.
Yeah.
So I mean,
why make it Primal?
Yeah. Can you earn the rank of Primal?
I am not a soldier.
No, I mean it's just interesting. Somebody theorized that maybe it's a thing that they do whenever whenever they land on a new planet and like have to take new forms, that like it's like a not a lineage. I'm trying to think, like a heritage, like what's something that like you and your family do because you and your family have always done it?
Tradition.
Yes, like maybe it's a maximal tradition to like do that.
I mean, if you think about some of the other Transformers, like from back in the 80s, I mean, there was Hot Rod, and he clearly looked like a Hot Rod.
Yeah.
And then RC.
But like Bumblebee had his name before they even left Cybertron.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird.
Strange.
It's weird. And it may just be, again, to sell toys.
Yeah.
So, back on the other crash site, the Predacons... the Predacons.
The Pentagons.
Are testing out their new beast modes... Bar one. What? Oh, one of them is not testing out their new beast modes. First Officer Dinobot, studying the golden disc he and his cohorts had stolen, is furious, declaring that this world cannot be Earth. He accuses Megatron of failure, both in battle against the Maximals and in failing to guide them to the right planet. Megatron laughs off Dinobot's accusations and has Scorponok blast the aggressive Dinobot over the horizon. Megatron informs the other Predacons that it doesn't matter what planet they are on, as they had come looking for Energon to fuel their war with the Maximals, and this planet is rich with it. Megatron dispatches his crew to seek out and destroy their enemies. So they had this disc.
Yeah.
They stole this disc.
Yes.
This gold disc.
Yes.
Because they were trying to find their way to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So they could... like get more Energon. And I guess like since the Great War ended, I guess in the movie, or maybe even the 2 seasons after, like we talked about in the last episode, that the Maximals and the Predacons have lived like in harmony.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess they've just been biding their time, and so now they've had like secret warships because they knew it was a warship. And they stole this from like the Maximal archives, I guess.
Maybe.
And that was going to show them how to get to Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But obviously, this is not Earth. There are 2 moons.
Yeah. 2 moons.
Very similar to Earth, obviously, like with the wildlife and stuff. But just I think the 2 moons is to let us know, like, hey, this is going to be a lot like Earth, but it is not Earth. All right. So, meanwhile, the Maximals are surveying the land around them and cleaning up the wreckage of the Axelon. That's the name of their ship. Rattrap complains about all the fuss over the golden disc, but Optimus Primal reminds him that the disc is Cybertron's most closely guarded relic, a guide to a major source of Energon, which is why Megatron stole it. Rattrap doesn't care, retorting that they were supposed to be performing deep space exploration and that it isn't in his job to chase after criminals. He sarcastically speculates on Primal's readiness to handle a command position. Optimus further reminds him of the Great War, noting that if the Predacons are able to secure a massive source of Energon, they wouldn't hesitate to start a new one.
Yeah.
Rattrap isn't convinced. And he also says something like, hey, you got a whole planet right here. You want exploration? Go fucking explore, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
So now, deciding to show off and goof off, Cheetor gives chase to 2 cheetahs running on the plains near the ship. Optimus tries to call him back, but the Energon radiation severely limits the range of their communications equipment. And of course, Cheetor tries to talk to the cheetahs, and they go all like Looney Tunes, come out of their sockets, yeah. And it's like, bro, they don't talk like you, man. Yeah. Come on, don't freak them out. It's the Prime Directive, You can't cause any changes with the history of a planet. All right, and it's from Star Trek, Maggie. That's the Prime Directive. You can do whatever, but as long as you don't mess up anything.
Yeah.
Like, remember in Star Trek Into Darkness when they go to that one planet and they're like, we can't be seen. That's why they had to be under the ocean and stuff, because they couldn't interfere with them.
Yeah.
That's because of Prime Directive. And then, of course, they worship the Enterprise as a deity. So, yeah, they didn't really follow the Prime Directive. Anyway, some distance away, Cheetor's 2 cheetah buddies are freaked out by a rather large wasp. Realizing it's a robot in disguise, Cheetor transforms and fires unprovoked. The Predacon Waspinator transforms and retaliates. Back at the Axelon, the other Maximals move out to give Cheetor backup, with Rhinox ramming his way through a pile of boulders to speed their progress. Waspinator manages to get the better of Cheetor when the Maximals' rifle jams, but unfortunately the other Maximals have arrived by then. Unfortunately, Megatron and the Predacons have arrived as well. Optimus Primal tries to convince Megatron to not engage in hostilities, as the Maximals and Predacons have been at peace for centuries. Megatron spits back that while the Maximals may have been at peace, the Predacons, like all enemies who appear peaceful, were merely biding their time. The Predacons have never forgotten their goal of galactic conquest, but were merely waiting for the right time to strike.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years. Hundreds of years they've just been waiting.
God.
Imagine having that much rage, you know? Like, I mean, that's how many generations has that like fed through? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
It just goes to show hate never dies. Halloween or evil may die tonight, but hate never dies.
Evil didn't die that night.
Evil dies tonight. Well, it did. Well, no, it didn't. Never mind. Both sides then transform, and the battle is joined. As the Maximals seek cover, Cheetor is blasted by one of Scorponok's missiles and ends up with his leg trapped under a boulder. Optimus Primal orders Rattrap to assist Cheetor while he provides cover fire, but Rattrap flatly refuses to risk his life for anybody else, which pisses off Optimus. The Maximal leader flies to Cheetor's position himself, but is hit by Predacon fire, much to Rattrap's smug delight. Nonetheless, Optimus manages to free Cheetor while Rhinox persuades Rattrap to help provide their pair with cover fire. With the Predacons now seeking cover of their own, the Maximals make their escape. Megatron orders pursuit, but he and his Predacons succumb to the effects of the Energon buildup and are forced to revert back to Beast Mode.
Beast Wars.
On the way back to the base, Optimus Primal chews out Rattrap for disobeying a direct order, explaining to the petulant Maximal that he could have given better cover fire, an explanation which Rattrap accepts rather grudgingly. Cheetor notes that they seem to have escaped the Predacons. Primal isn't sure, as the Golden Disc theft reports indicated there were 6 Predacons, but they only have encountered 5 in the previous battle. They don't have to wait long, as Dinobot appears, barring their way across a stone bridge to the Axelon. Dinobot states that he has left the Predacons to join the Maximals as leader. He challenges Optimus Primal to a one-on-one battle, with the winner to lead the Maximals and the loser to be destroyed. To be continued. That's right, everybody. That was the end of the first episode of Beast Wars. Maggie, how was you feeling at that point?
I mean, I was very much intrigued. Like, I wanted to know, hey, who's going to fall off this bridge, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Were you happy with having gone down this path of watching Beast Wars?
I am happy with it.
Okay. I mean, after the first episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you thankful that it was a little bit different from what we had been watching?
Yes. Yes, very much.
I guess it's a little bit better design and stuff. I mean, that's a 10-year difference, you know?
Yeah.
All right. But before we continue, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by patreon.com/hopefullyawesome.
That's right. At the $5 tier, you can have access to every episode we make ad-free and have your name listed in the credits of every video. At $10, you'll be able to get access to our all-new exclusive shows right here on patreon.com/hopefullyawesome. Those include Hopefully Weekly, a weekly show where Maggie and I catch up on all the things that's happened over the past week, both in our life and in the world around us. Family Game Night, a weekly show where Maggie and I will play a variety of board games, from Blockbuster Party Game all the way to Fast and the Furious Heist Game, whatever that is.
Highway Heist.
The Hopefully Awesome movie commentary that we'll do once a month, where Maggie and I will watch one of our favorite films and then record us talking about it over it. Kind of like a mix between Mystery Science Theater 3000 and, just us goofing off and talking about nothing related to the film. And lastly, Matt plus Maggie. This is our monthly show where Maggie and I talk about our relationship. I don't think we'll be giving any advice, but hey, tune in. It'll be fun. And if you want to go above and beyond at the $25 level, not only do you get everything that we've just talked about, but you also get a verbal shout out as our Patreon producer of the entire month. All this and more.
So sign up at patreon.com/hopefullyawesome today.
All right. Thank you for that word, Matt and Maggie. We will be sure and do those things. Remember, if you'd like to get this show ad-free and the audio version, you can head over to patreon.com/hopefullyawesome and get both of those today. So now, let's get into Beast Wars Season 1, Episode 2, entitled Beast Wars Part 2. Episode 2 overall. Original air dates of April 23rd, 1966. I don't know. I think I have I put on some chapstick and I think pieces of it are flying off my mouth or something. Anyway, original air dates was April 23rd, 1996 during a preview event, much like the first one. And September 17th, 1996 was the regular airing episode. Again, written by Bob Forward and directed by Steve Ball.
Steve Ball.
So, again, we join our cast back at the bridge where Dinobot is challenging Optimus Primal to mortal combat for the leadership of the Maximals. Rhinox wonders if the rest of them get a say, while Rattrap is indifferent, and Cheetor offers to nail the Predacon himself. Optimus tries to talk sense to Dinobot, saying he's welcome to join the group, but not as leader. Dinobot is unimpressed. The two duel. Rattrap has to restrain Cheetor from joining in. Primal knocks down Dinobot, and the Predacon tells him to finish the job, but Optimus refuses, and Dinobot responds by blasting him, almost sending the Maximal leader over the edge. Dinobot helps him back up, stating that Primal slipped and that the winning the fight that way would have not been honorable.
It's not honorable.
Prime says, do you want to be Dinobot?
I'll be Dinobot.
Okay.
I'll do my best.
All right. Prime says, what are you doing? You've won.
You slipped. To defeat you in such a manner would be...
It's Dinobot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's like,
you
excellent.
You slipped. Is that better?
You can just do a normal voice.
To defeat you in such a manner would be lacking in honor. I would not have earned the right to lead. I preferred to beat my opponents the old-fashioned way. Brutally.
I love it. The team resume fighting. Prime. For a Predacon Dinobot, you have qualities I could like.
And you have proved to be a worthy adversary. I feel like Lionel Luther came out. I will have you recycled with full honors.
Well, that's just Prime.
Oh, such a good
catchphrase.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word.
My favorite catchphrase is not that's just Prime. My favorite one is we're all gonna die. That's my favorite catchphrase of the series. All right, so as they continue to fight, Megatron and his crew arrive, taking the chance to attack both combatants. Primal transforms to beast mode, pulling Dinobot out of the way of the missiles, but leaving the pair dangling over the ravine. Dinobot begins suffering from energon buildup and pleads with Optimus to let him fall so that Optimus might save himself, but Optimus naturally refuses. The pair is saved at the last moment by Rhinox. This is the signal for another attack from the Predacons, which takes out the rock bridge. The Maximals, barring Rattrap, who has to be saved by Optimus, reach the other side of the bridge in time. Megatron takes his frustrations out on Terrorsaur, but Scorponok points to where some of the Predacon missiles have struck a mountain, unveiling a massive cache of energon crystals. The Predacons set out... Sorry, my keyboard popped up. The Predacons set out... Lost it.
To the big...
set out for the mountain, but they're spotted heading for the energy crystals by the Maximals. Rhinox and Rattrap are ready to scrap Dinobot before starting out, but Optimus stops them. They set out for the mountain as well, though Rattrap is less than impressed with the news that Dinobot is coming too. Yeah. So what are you feeling about that? I mean, it's first time.
Crazy.
It's the first time we're getting from the get-go a Maximal, or I mean, a bad guy joining the good guys.
Guy.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
and actually, he is my favorite right now.
Dinobot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great character. Honestly,
I really like him.
I think he gets better throughout the whole series. I mean, they all do, but really, I'd say Dinobot is probably the most well written in the entire series.
Yeah.
Because he's conflicted.
Yeah.
He wants to be ruthless, but he also has a lot of honor.
Yeah.
He's almost like a Klingon. Lots of Star Trek references. Why am I making so many Star Trek references today?
I don't know. You're the one bringing it up,
man. It's weird, man. So en route, Rhinox suggests that Optimus fly ahead using his jets, but Primal believes there's strength in numbers. They spot a strange stone circle, obviously artificially built, but are interrupted in their discussion by the arrival of Terrorsaur and Waspinator.
Terrorize!
Waspinator! Terrorize! Whoa, Waspinator! I'll work on it. That's actually really good. Optimus takes to the air and scares them off with a missile. As the two Predacons flee, Dinobot fires on them with his optical lasers, inadvertently blasting the ledge above them. Rhinox is forced to leap aside as a boulder comes crashing down on him, and Rattrap accuses him of intentionally trying to slag Rhinox. Optimus orders him to stand down. Stand down, Rattrap. The Predacons arrive at the mountain, though, as Tarantulas points out, the energy will force them to remain in their beast modes. The Maximals arrive at roughly the same time, and both sides eye each other from across the pass through the top mountain. After the prerequisite speech from Megatron, both sides charge and begin tearing into one another in beast form. Despite biting a chunk out of Optimus, Megatron is thrown aside and, as a last desperate gamble, transforms and fires a missile on Optimus. Dinobot throws himself between the pair, knocking the missile with his tail and saving Primal. But the missile begins a chain reaction, and both teams quickly flee. As the Maximals watch the resulting explosions, Dinobot explains that his actions are payment of a debt he owed Primal his life, and now they are even. Primal says that's good enough for the moment and proclaims, so for now, let the battle be here on this strange primitive world, and let it be called Beast Wars!
Beast
I gotta say, not a fan.
What?
Just the ending. Where he's like, and let it be called Beast Wars. I mean, it's fine. Like, and honestly, a lot of Primal, like, I love Primal, obviously, but throughout the series, we get little hints that, not hints, but just that he's very much like, he's very much a man of the Transformers doctrination, right? Like, he's like a Obi-Wan in episode 1. All right, like, he's very much like what they say is the way, and that's the way, and that's good.
Cut and paste.
Yeah, cut and dry.
Yeah, cut and dry.
And you know, like, especially this, the way he's wording it, like, he has a very I don't know, a strong burden of history, I guess would be a way to put it. And especially as we go further, you'll see him start keeping records of things, and it's almost written like biblically, you know, like, for real. It's like, and he shall have, you know, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing, you know, like the way faith kind of plays a part in this. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. You wouldn't expect it from Beast Wars. Like, they didn't have to go that hard, but they do. So anyway, how'd you feel after watching that episode?
I was looking forward to how, like, what a normal episode is. Yeah. Because I know this was the setup. Yeah. Like, we got to meet all the Predacons. We got to meet all the Maximals. Yeah. And
we set up the board. Yeah. Now let's actually see some pieces move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, this could have easily been a VHS tape included with, like, a 2-pack of Optimus and Megatron. Just to, like, here's your fucking backstory, kids. Now go buy all the toys, you know? So episode 3 does definitely deviate from what we've seen so far. So episode 3, The Web, episode 3 overall. Original air date, this is the first one that was not previewed. Excuse me. Was first premiered on September 18th, 1996. Written by Larry DiTillio and directed by C. Michael Easton. So, at the Maximal base, Cheetor enthusiastically volunteers to field test a new comlink Rhinox has developed to aid long-range communications. Cheetor is instructed to take care of the device and not engage any Predacons. After Cheetor bolts out of the room, Rhinox expresses a bit of doubt, but Optimus is confident that he'll do just fine. 5 micro-quads away, Cheetor hears an explosion caused by Scorponok trying to recover a mega cannon from one of the 2 ships. He radios a report to Optimus and heads off to investigate, openly defying his orders to avoid any trouble. Primal leaves to recover Cheetor before something bad happens. Cheetor finds Scorponok and radios to Rhinox that he's going to take immediate action, and he holds Scorponok at gunpoint. But Tarantulas surprises Cheetor, giving Scorponok the time he needs to take him out with a missile. By the time Optimus arrives, the 2 Predacons are gone, and Cheetor is left heavily damaged. As he lies unconscious, he dreams. That's right. So this is, I actually really like this part. So in Cheetor's dream, on Cybertron, and this is so cool, like especially having watched the Gen 1 stuff, to then go back to this and seeing it in like the CG animated style. It's just really rad. So on Cybertron, Megatron, Waspinator, and Terrorsaur all open fire on Cheetor, who merely laughs at his attackers and blasts them away with ease. But from the darkness within an empty water tower, the glowing eyes of Tarantulas taunt Cheetor. He opens fire again, this time finding his accuracy sorely diminished. Suddenly, Scorponok transforms and attacks, and out of the blue, Rattrap appears for a split second. With the blaster exhausted, Cheetor is unable to do anything but watch as a missile from Scorponok closes in. And then, Cheetor wakes up. Having been repaired by Rhinox, Cheetor tries to explain to the Maximals gathered around him that he had to take immediate action to stop Scorponok's recovery of the cannon, but Optimus and the others are still disappointed in him for losing both the communicator and the cannon because of his impulsive actions. Once Primal leaves, Rattrap gives Cheetor a hard time, causing the Catbot to snarl back and rush out of the room again. Rhinox makes Rattrap fess up to what Cheetor is surely going to do, so Rattrap relents and agrees to go after him. In Predacon territory, Terrorsaur and Scorponok install the newly recovered Mega Cannon. Cheetor tries to sneak past them, but is so focused on waiting for the correct moment that he doesn't notice Tarantulas emerge from the ground behind him and is quickly ensnared. Cheetor awakens in a dark cavern, stuck to an energy web that restricts his movement. Tarantulas explains to him that the stasis web is draining his energy slowly, leaving his delicious body ripe for consumption. Yes. Tarantulas loves eating Maximals. Tarantulas can't wait to suck on you, Cheetor.
I like to eat other animals, too.
Yes. Open wide, pussy cat. Tarantulas crawls over his captive's body and laughs with delight at the thought of his meal. In the Axion's control room, Optimus, Rhinox, and Dinobot look over a holo map of the crashed Predacon ship. Primal prepares to send Rattrap on a scouting mission, but Rhinox covers for his friend and says that the rat is talking to Cheetor. Unknown to Optimus, Rattrap is already in Predacon territory, following Cheetor's trail. Rattrap finds Tarantulas' lair and engages his Predacon and Nemesis. While the two battle, Tarantulas increases the rate at which the web drains energy from Cheetor. Tarantulas hunts Rattrap through the cavern with a thermal scan, but Rattrap fools him with a hot box and blasts the unfortunate spider. After destroying the energy web, Rattrap grabs Cheetor and gets ready to leave, but one last blast from Tarantulas forces Rattrap to make his exit by diving away from a large explosion, which causes the cavern to collapse upon Tarantulas. Back at the base, Rattrap lies to Optimus and claims he and Cheetor were just hanging out together. The axe spares Cheetor from Primal's anger. In private, Rattrap emphasizes to Cheetor that he was only lying to cover his own hide, but Cheetor is still grateful to his pal. The end.
The end.
Of that episode.
The end.
Yeah. I gotta say, a couple of things in this. Tarantulas' lair. You know, most of the time we see them all hanging out, like in there is a name, and I'll get into the name of the ship. The Predacon ship doesn't actually have a name yet, but then it was given one unofficially by the fans, and then that name was actually turned into a canon.
Oh God!
Yeah, so it's great. But you know, we see the Predacons usually hanging out in the ship, but Tarantulas has his own little place. You know, it's just interesting because Tarantulas seems a little underhanded. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly problems within the ranks with power. Yeah, you know,
I mean, that's the thing.
Terracon doesn't want anything. He wants
Terrorsaur.
My bad.
You're fine.
Doesn't want Megatron. Sorry, Megatron to be the leader anymore. He wants to be it. And then I think
Tarantulas.
I always want to make sure I'm saying it right. Tarantulas also wants some of that power too.
It almost seems like every one of the Predacons, except for Scorponok.
And Waspinator doesn't either.
Yeah, I guess Waspinator too. But like, it seems like most everybody in there is very much like single focused on themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, Terrorsaur.
Yeah, Terrorsaur.
Like, he definitely, like, keeps trying to take things over.
Yeah,
I think that's-
Starscream.
Right. I mean, he's definitely Starscream, right? But Tarantulas, I don't know. He just seems a bit more conniving and, like, secretive, you know? I mean, just based solely off of what we've seen in these 4 episodes. But, I mean, we'll see. They all seem to just not jive together.
I don't think they like each other.
And, like, I think that's kind of a benefit to the Maximals, is that even though these Predacons have been trained, like, I mean, they're on a warship, for God's sakes, that, you know, they can't rely on each other. And so even though the Maximals are, like, explorers, they can at least a little bit more than the Predacons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of the, you know, the balance of it all, right? Like, you would say that maybe the Predacons have more ground because of their training and stuff and just their power. But, you know, given what the Maximals are able to do, I don't know, it's just interesting to see how this war plays out. It's more complicated than just who's more powerful. And, like, they're not equally separated, you know? And I feel like that little bit of diversity between the two factions is a bit more, just a bit deeper than the Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, they were just very much like, here's all the good guys, here's all the bad guys, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you had Starscream, but I just feel like for the majority of it, they were all kind of nameless, faceless people.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, you only knew their names and faces because they turned into other cool things, you know? So yeah, I just think that this definitely gives each side a bit of a strength deeper than just they're good and they're bad. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely, it was nice seeing a normal episode.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, moving on to season 1, episode 4, Equal Measures. This is episode 4 overall. Original air date was September 23rd, 1996. So I guess it played for 3 days, and then they went on a break, and then played, I think, like 3 more days. I don't know. So I don't know if it's like a weekend thing. I need to look into it. When I was watching Beast Wars, the first way I watched it was in syndication. Yeah. But then it was actually picked up by Fox Kids and played like nationally on there. But I mean, it had already ended. They were already working on Beast Machines by that time.
Yeah.
So I really need to look into like how all that came about and stuff. I know Canada has a lot to do with it. This episode written by Greg Johnson, directed by T.W. Peacock. Optimus Primal watches a bolt of lightning shatter a mountain, revealing a cache of energon. Because of the hazardous conditions, he radios to the team aboard their current operation. The storm garbles the transmission, though, preventing the other Maximals from receiving it. The mission involves Predacon monitoring. The mission involves Predacon monitoring devices designed by Rhinox, who has just gotten done building the last of them. Impatient to get going, Cheetor carelessly plays with one of Dinobot's projects, a time bomb, and accidentally drops it out on the floor hatch, where it's caught by a returning Optimus, who reiterates his order for the mission to be scrubbed. Everyone's clearly upset over the development, not believing the storm to be severe yet, but Primal is adamant it'll have to wait until later. Dejected, everyone returns to quarters to wait out the storm. In Cheetor's quarters, Dinobot meets with the Catbot and endorses the mission being continued regardless of the danger from the weather and the energon. He points out that Primal clearly treats Cheetor like a child, even though with his speed, the Catbot could easily outrun the storm and plant the devices before it hits. This appeal to vanity works, and Cheetor sneaks out to complete the mission. Oh, Cheetor. In the field, Cheetor plants survey apparatuses in quick succession, and a bolt of lightning causes the cat accidentally to plant one of the posts dangerously close to an energon vein. He tries to remove the device and correct his mistake, but in the middle of his struggle, a second lightning bolt hits, and he finds himself suddenly teleported onto a control panel of the Predacon base. That's right, behind enemy lines. Terrorsaur welcomes Cheetor and attacks the Maximal, but Cheetor grabs a hover platform and tries to escape. After being knocked off the platform, Cheetor lunges at Terrorsaur and pushes the Predacon onto the control panel he had just arrived on, causing Terrorsaur to vanish. Scorponok and Waspinator arrive and chase Cheetor around the Predacon base, but lose him in the ventilation shafts. Meanwhile, Terrorsaur finds himself in the Axelon Command Center, where he's given a warm reception by Dinobot. However, the former Predacon is more concerned over how Terrorsaur arrived at the Maximal base, eventually working out that a freak combination of the survey devices, the storm, and the Energon created a transporter link between the two bases. Using this to his advantage, Terrorsaur seems to convince Dinobot into forming an alliance, suggesting they scrap the Maximals, then take over the Predacons and rule together. That is, until Dinobot drops the charade and unceremoniously flushes the Pred out of the Axelon through a waste disposal unit. Back at the Predacon base, Cheetor continues to flee while avoiding fire from Waspinator. He sneaks away from the two long enough to hack the Predacon's data files and determines that both bases sit on a common underground energon vein, so an explosion at one base would cause a chain reaction that would obliterate both ships. Cheetor is discovered as soon as he downloads the data to a disk. At the Maximal base, Optimus confronts Dinobots on Cheetor's whereabouts. Dinobot tells him about the link and how the Catbot has surely been destroyed by now, but convinces him that they could use the link to annihilate the Predacon base with the bomb, a plan Primal only agrees to as long as the bomb's timer is set with enough time to allow the Preds to evacuate. Just as the bomb is sent, though, Cheetor tosses the disk with the Energon vein data onto the console, transporting both items simultaneously. The Predacons finally corner Cheetor, but the bomb has magnetically locked itself onto the Pred console, forcing Megatron to let Cheetor go so he can release the bomb. With a few seconds left, Cheetor throws it to Terrorsaur, who flies it out of the base and is blown up with it. While Cheetor escapes through the link, the Predacons' errant shots destroy the console instead. Furthermore, his return trip to the Axelon shatters all of the survey posts he planted, ensuring the link is severed for good. Afterwards, Rhinox and Rattrap congratulate Cheetor's prevention of the Maximal base from being destroyed by their own explosive, while Dinobot is in a bad mood as usual and leaves. Though Cheetor apparently didn't tell anyone that Dinobot talked to him into doing the whole thing, Primal still commands Cheetor to take more care to obey direct orders. Cheetor says he will, except when he doesn't, and scampers off, leaving Optimus steamed up while Rhinox and Rattrap have a jolly laugh. But Optimus figures out Cheetor was funny and gets to the jolly laugh with Rhinox and Rattrap. The end.
The end.
2 back-to-back episodes about Cheetor.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I mean, you would think, you know, I don't know, maybe this is my Digimon brain coming into play here. But, like, you would think almost each episode after the pilot would focus on one of the characters.
Yeah.
And, like, we would just kind of get through all 10 of them. And then, you know, start doing whatever. So just the fact that they decided to do 2 Cheetor episodes back to back is it's just interesting.
I think that they were just trying to catch kids' attention. It's like, hey, Cheetor's young and fun, and he likes danger. He wants to prove himself, you know.
And maybe they had the better animation figured out for Cheetor.
Yeah.
You know, like, because there's one character that was like running in one of them and just looked awful.
Yeah.
I forget who it was. It might have been Dinobot or some. It was one of the Maximals, but he was like going up a hill and he's like, you know, it looked terrible. Yeah. You know, I mean, nothing against them. God, they're creating CGI animation for the first time. You know,
yeah, 96.
Yeah, you know, for a TV show, like for something that has to be in syndication, like that's insane. Yeah. You know, I mean, it took Pixar like several years to be able to render out Toy Story.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys are releasing new episodes on a daily basis. Like, it's insane. So, you know, that could be a part of it. Maybe Cheetor, you know, that maybe they knew that like that's going to be the young, the one that all the kids like, you know, because he's the young hotshot.
Yeah.
And they probably saw that in the past with Hot Rod or Bumblebee or, you know, whoever. So maybe that's why they're playing into it a little bit.
Yeah. I could see that.
Could be. So now it's time to get into some of our fun segments. First of which, it's time for the countdown to Beast. 20 weeks until the Beast rise.
Yeah.
This has been the countdown to Beast. All right, let's get into war. What is it good for?
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
War!
All right, so this is how the war has progressed so far. Though the Predacons are trained for battle, the group of Maximals were on a peacekeeping exploration mission, giving an edge to the Predacons in capability in war. The Maximals have only 4 to their group, whereas the Predacons begin with a total of 6. The Predacons are then dropped down to 5, with Dinobot leaving and joining the Maximals. This brings both teams to 5 each. By episode 3, the Maximals have been stranded for at least a month, which is the time it took Rhinox to make the comlink. So they've been there a month. Starting off 6-4, now it's 5-5. And of course, we already kind of talked a little bit about the differences between the Maximals and the Predacons, but that is where we stand so far with the war. Interesting. I wonder how it'll all shake out, Maggie.
I don't know.
You know what they say? War. What is it good for?
What is
I was going to say war is a
good
battlefield, but that's love. Love is a
love.
battlefield.
Love is a battlefield.
All right, time for Welcome to the Party, Pal.
Welcome to the party, pal.
This is where we talk about all the new characters that was introduced this week. On the Maximal side, of course, we've got Cheetor, Rattrap, Optimus Primal, and Rhinox. On the Predacon side, we've got Dinobot, Megatron, Tarantulas, Waspinator, Terrorsaur, and Scorponok. That is your cast of characters for the current moment. Next up, let's get into That's Just Prime.
Well, that's just prime.
These are words of leadership from Optimus Prime during this week. Prime, you wanted exploration, and here we are on an unknown planet. What more do you want? Rattrap says, well, call me picky, but a working spacecraft might be nice. Prime says, there's just no pleasing some people. I gotta say, listen, he's no Peter Cullen, all right? No. But I do love the voice of Optimus Primal.
Yeah.
Something very fatherly, you know? And he's not so... Like, he just gives a different vibe, you know? Like, Optimus Prime was very much like, I am the leader, and you should, you will follow.
You will
I mean,
go
like,
and kill those.
No. I don't mean like he was like demanding. I just mean like he was almost like Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments. You know what I mean? Whereas this one, I feel like he's more like Carl Winslow or something. You know, like I mean, like he's the matriarch or the patriarch of the group, but like he looks to the Maximals almost as like their family. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that his voice being a little bit softer actually helps that.
Yes.
Let's see here. Dinobot. I still live. Finish it. Prime says, that's not how we Maximals do things. Prime to Dinobot. Defeating them does not mean we have to annihilate them. You seem to have trouble understanding that. So even then, not looking to kill the Predacons. He wants to be able to stop them, but he values all life. So next up, let's get into Traitor.
Traitor!
Treacherous actions by characters this week. Of course, Dinobot attempts to take on Megatron for control of the Predacons, but is quickly thwarted by Scorponok. Rattrap often doesn't listen to Optimus in the first few episodes and directly disobeys orders.
Terrorsaur.
In episode 4, we see Dinobot going behind Optimus's back. In episode 4, also, Dinobot makes a truce with Terrorsaur to understand and possibly use the teleporter, though he ultimately turns on him by saying he's not a team player. This also shows Terrorsaur possibly turning against the Predacons as well, at least that he'd be willing to turn on Megatron to lead him. Terrorsaur says, think of the cosmic magnificence. Together we'll overthrow these low-grade metal knockoffs you've joined and then rule the Predacons with 2 iron fists. Nothing can stop us! That was terrible. All right. Now it's time for puberty, but with Transformers.
Yep. Big change.
So this is just where we talk about how puberty works in the Transformers universe, or different like stand-ins for it. In episode 3 and 4, Cheetor is shown to be portrayed as younger, at least in maturity level, by often making rash decisions that directly contradict what Optimus has in order, or what Optimus has ordered. So obviously, Cheetor is feeling that like we've talked about, that hot rod Bumblebee kind of, younger character that acts first, thinks later, much to his detriment, right? Yeah. So seeing how he matures throughout this show, like I think that's going to be, I feel like Cheetor is supposed to be kind of like the children watching it, and over the course of the 3 seasons, like we actually see him grow with the kids.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. All right, now let's get into Transformers references, part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
You become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
All right. We got a few here. Optimus Primal mentions the Great War, which is what the Transformers of the Beast era call the conflict between the Autobots and Decepticons. The significance of the Great War isn't explained in the episode itself, although later episodes would reinforce the notion that the Maximals and Predacons are descendants of the original Generation 1 factions. So I guess at this point, like, people didn't necessarily know who these people were. Like, is this a reboot? Like, they mentioned the Great War, but, like, are they actual descendants, or is it another planet? So that's interesting. Trouble of coming up with entirely different models for each character. They decided to keep everyone mostly in shadows in the opening.
Oh, wow.
You
telling me now.
Yeah, like they were like, let's not show everybody because we don't want to have to create whole new models, just for this. However, if one pays close attention, there are some marked differences to the facial areas shown, and Rattrap's arms are slightly different. Mm-hmm. Megatron, who is seen almost entirely prior to getting his beast form, reuses the body of the giant robot from Mainframe's other show, Reboot, albeit with a few small modifications and Megatron's head slapped on top. Yep. So they just used the body and put Megatron's head on it. It's kind of cool. Scorponok is a major antagonist whose name is shared by several fictional characters throughout various Transformers universes, including the 2007 action film, live action film. Characters with the same name are usually Decepticons or Predacons that turn into robotic scorpions or have scorpion-shaped robot modes. So like in Transformers 2007, the scorpion that attacks them in the desert, that was Scorponok. Okay. Not necessarily this Scorponok, but apparently plenty of people have carried that moniker. Throughout this episode and Beast Wars Part 2, Scorponok's missiles have a maximal insignia on them meant to indicate maximal kills. This confused viewers into thinking that they were mistakenly maximal missiles. So, like, the missiles had a maximal icon on them.
Yeah.
And so they were like, it's made to kill maximals. And I guess people thought that it was like a false render or something. Yeah. So they end up changing it later on. In episode 3, Tarantulas makes the first reference to the Inferno, which is the Transformers version of hell. In this episode. It's possible he was just talking about the subsequent energy web explosion, but unlikely. Inferno would get changed to Pit in later episodes to avoid confusion with a yet-to-be-introduced character. Yeah. A little pre-spoiler. In episode 4, this is the first episode where we get to hear Terrorsaur speak besides terrorize. It's also the first time he is shown to be the series' resident Starscream, possessing a flat-based alternate mode and already plotting behind his leader's back. Also in episode 4, when Cheetor appears before him, Terrorsaur greets him thus, "Welcome to the dark side." The episode script reveals that this was simply Terrorsaur being dramatic, as it was in response to Cheetor wondering if he had died and come to the afterlife. Terrorsaur was basically messing with him by saying a more colorful and kid-friendly version of Welcome to Hell. However, because Transformers fans can be incredibly literal, some fans speculatively latched onto the idea that the Terrorsaur was welcoming Cheetor to the dark side, supposedly giving the Predacon ship base a proper name.
Wow.
This bit of fan canon was subsequently made official by the video game Beast Wars Transmetals. Years later, the ship's name was further codified by the BotCon 2006 story Dawn of Futures Past, which dodged trademark issues by giving the intentional misspelling Darkside spelled as one word, DARKSYDE. This is what happens when fans are allowed to run things. And of course, I don't think I have it in here. I thought I did. But Cheetor's dream. We see there's the insignia. I think it's supposed to be Starscream that flies by.
Yeah.
Or at least a version of Starscream.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the straight up Decepticons logo.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we only see Predacons and Maximals in
Maximals,
this.
yeah.
And so seeing the Decepticon logo, like that was
Yeah.
really cool to see that, especially after the last time we saw it was the hand drawn animated movie.
Yeah. Man,
Crazy.
crazy.
All right. Next time on Beast Wars.
Next time, Gadget. Next time.
So next week we've got 4 new episodes we'll be watching. That is episode 5, Chain of Command, episode 6, Power Surge, episode 7, Fallen Comrades, and episode 8, Double Jeopardy. That's where you get double points for answering the question correctly, Maggie.
I know that.
Remember, if you would like, actually, I think it's supposed to be that film with what's her name?
Ashley Judd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we just accidentally watched the Ashley Judd film? Like, what if just as a joke, then on the next episode when we talk about Double Jeopardy, I just recap the entire Ashley Judd film?
I don't know how some people would feel about that.
I don't think it'd go over well, honestly.
No.
That'd be a good April Fool's Day episode.
Yeah, it would.
Remember, if you'd like to watch the Beast Wars in HD or 4K, you can head over to the YouTube channel Al's Replay, where you can catch that. And if you would like to get this show ad-free and early and in audio form, head over to patreon.com/hopefullyawesome, where you can do that and get other exclusive content like our weekly board game show and our monthly movie commentary track, as well as many other things that we do. If this is your first time joining us for Going Back to Beast Wars, welcome! Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this rundown of the first 4 episodes of Beast Wars. Again, we're just starting this journey out, so we'll see. We may tweak some things as we go forward. So definitely leave us a comment letting us know what parts you liked, what parts you didn't like. And if you would like to help support the show, be sure and hit the like button. You can subscribe to Hopefully Awesome, and you can rate us over on all the podcast networks and all that kind of fun stuff. We also have Going Back to Smallville and the Hopefully Awesome Show, a weekly podcast where we recap all of the nerdy news from the past week. But that's it.
That's it.
That's the end of the show.
That's it.
We wrapped it up.
We did.
We did good.
We did.
The Beast Wars began, and we made it through.
Yeah.
So,
Terrorize!
we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, as always.
Have a hopefully awesome day.
Maximize!
Terrorize!